News.
All right, keep sending your comments on our question of the day. Should the government should the term limit be increased from 5 to 7 or decreased from 5 to 4? And we have Kiambu Senator Karungo Thang'wa who is joining me. Senator, we lost you, but I think you made your point that Kenyans should stand for their country at this particular time. But I want to ask you this. The arguments for and against, one of them is that 7-year term is able to give a government an opportunity to deliver. What's your sentiments in this? Is it sufficient? Because we take a lot of time settling and politicking after an election.
You know, Ken, it's not about politicking. It's about systems. If the government can create systems, it doesn't matter who comes in. You can change your member of parliament after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years. And if he comes in and finds the systems were there, they can always check the systems and work. So the only problem with the 7-year term is that if country will have a very negative connotation against the government that is leading them, like probably we have now, because we have a lot of discontent, a lot of distrust, people do not trust us as we are now. Can you imagine having the same status for the next 7 years? So that's why I am introducing, let's even do a 4-year term.
Okay.
And I'm really happy that I have seen even a senator, my colleague, that is Senator Omtata, who has also commented on my issue of a 4-year term. And he said, we can even make it better by having a midterm election.
Okay.
What do you mean by a midterm election? After you vote for us for 4 years, then within 2 years, we have a mini referendum of aendelee asiendelee.
Okay.
Tunauliza hivyo kwa ba.
Very, and you know something about you, all the proposals or some of the proposals you brought to the Senate in the last few years have been very interesting. I remember the one on holiday, but I want to ask you this. Don't you think your premise is wrong now that it's a reaction and probably you're looking at the current administration rather than looking at Kenya progressively? Don't you think that makes your premise for this wrong?
You know, one time Minister, Mr. Mishuki said, if you rattle a snake, we were okay, we were fine, things were going on well. But if you realize that somebody is taking you for a ride, then it is time to think back. Look at the mover of this amendment, the Senator for Nandi. Look at where he comes from. Look at how he voted to kick out the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. Then we think this is a grand scheme of people trying to retain power. And I'm not just talking about president. I'm talking about senators. I'm talking about MPs. I'm talking to everybody who is in power, that they want to extend their time limit because they understand after what they have done to Kenyans, they might not be elected again in 2027. So they are like, okay, if you will not elect us in 2027, we better extend our term. Mm-hmm. So what we're trying to say is that we do not want this issue to be taken as a senator who is just trying to be known, or a senator who is just trying to bring this issue from wherever. It is time for us Kenyans to start this conversation. Remember, the MPs passed the finance bill, and they know people are angry at that. They impeached Rigathi Gachagua, and they know now people are twice angrier than they were before. So instead of waiting for 2027, they're saying, let's extend our term, we eat for 7 years, then we are done.
But Senator,
and we cannot allow that.
Senator, you know as well as I do that if at all that proposal will pass, then it begins in the next term. That means that 5, then another 7, then of course because it's a new dispensation, you do another 7. So it doesn't extend the current, they'll have to go to an election. But I want to ask you this, because the more progressive a country is, the lesser the years in a single term. Look at the US, for example, including the fact that the other positions have midterm elections. But as we conclude, I'd like to ask you this. What will it take to get your proposal through? What will you need to get it through?
See, we were just concluded, or we were shown by Kenyans through the Gen Z movement, that the MPs or the senators listen to the people. If they are agitated, you know, the MPs were told do not pass the finance bill. And when they did, the Gen Zs and Kenyans did what they did until the president cancelled or did not assent to the bill. So this is something that we are saying. Now, if you need to change, actually Kenyans had no problem with the 5-year term. But when you hear somebody say increase, now we have to ask ourselves, is the pressure increasing or decreasing? So let's decrease.
Okay.
If you are trying us by telling us that you can increase, let's show you the people have power, we are actually going to decrease. And all we are telling our people is that let us discuss this issue. And we realize, and we were shown just the other day, Ken, by the parliament, that you can do a mini referendum within a day. That is the purported public participation on the removal of the deputy president. It was done in the whole country. You did not know the budget. You don't even know where the money came from, but it was done. So this can be done, and Kenyan can induce, and I'm saying induce, the outcome.
Senator of the great county of Kiambu, thank you so much, Karungo, my friend, for coming tonight. Looking forward to hosting you in studio one of these fine days. We have a lot to discuss. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, the 4-year term proposal. And he says if you rattle a snake, be ready to be bitten. Right. On our big Q tonight, we are asking you, should it be increased to 7 or decreased to 4? Give your yes or no responses, starting with the yes or no, short comment, and throw in your name if